So I don't know the general consensus around this combiner specifically. I know a couple people who like it and a couple people who don't, but I haven't actually heard any widespread opinions on it. So yeah, I'm going into this one completely like I have not been touched by anyone else's opinion, and that is why I don't end up liking it. But anyways, so I was supposed to have Bad Cube's version of Road Rager, or what they call Captain Huffy, I think, and that new upscaled Studio Series Sentinel Prime for you guys this week, but they're stuck in shipping at the border because international shipping pains. Hopefully by next week I should get them, but to tie you over for then, I have Power of the Primes Abominus. Also, Toys R Us has T-Rex. I blame T-Fan Page for this pain. I'm going to start with my least favorite, Cutthroat. And this script also took forever to write, on a side note, because I had this little helper right here. We got a new puppy. So Cutthroat, I don't like this thing. It's not the greatest. The proportions are weird. The build feels weak. The plastic feels like poo. I just generally don't like this toy or this mold in general. Also, I had to get a second copy because the first copy I got was missing the bird head. It was used. I was missing the bird head, but the person I bought it from kindly just said I'll replace it. But the replacement copy, which was brand new, head split in half. So I had to glue that. So, not a fan. So let's move on to something I wish could be better. Cinder Twin, whose name I don't remember what they call him in Power of the Primes, but I don't care. It's Cinder Twin. This guy is my favorite of the Terracons from the team, but not my favorite figure. It's the proportions look so off. The legs really ruin this figure for me, and that sucks because I always love the design of Cinder Twin. Not a fan of the way the hips are like sculpted, because he leans, at least my copy, leans forward a little bit all the time, and it's really aggravating. Plus his legs are so close together at the top, and like it's just the way that they did the figure for its transformation makes the robot mode look extremely weird. Extremely weird. Next up though, we have Ripper Snapper. This is actually a pretty good figure. Going from two bad figures in my opinion to something good, and this actually looks nice. It feels okay though. The hips are very loose on mine, but otherwise I do quite like it a lot. I really like the Wolverine claws and how clean and proportional it looks. It also has wrist swivels. I will talk about the paint on all of these in a second, but for the most part, this figure actually is really, really nice. Blot here, though, is my favorite figure of the entire set. I don't know. I love the colors. I love the look, the feel, the whole aesthetic of this guy. To me, just is really nice, and that's why I like it so much. I do like the color combo, like the light purple and dark purple. I love the way that the claws are done. The way that the hands transform is actually really nice. I like the sculpt. I just like almost everything about it. But before I get to Hunger, I want to say some things about these 4 deluxes. Their paint on the whole sucks. On Cutthroat and Cinder Twin, it's just bad. And on Ripper Snapper and Blot, it's okay. But the colors and the type of paint they use just kind of suck a lot. It scratches easily and the colors are just weird. Like they use flashy colors to make them pop, but they're flashy, yet they don't pop. Which is what makes them weird to me. They just feel like... They feel like knockoff paints, or like paint you would find on a Cybertron figure that was heavily used. That's what they look like to me. It's very hard to describe, but I just don't vibe with the way that these guys are painted. Anyways, on to the big guy. He's a Combiner Wars Silverbolt mold. Are you shocked? I'm not. It's still neat. It's cool how they were able to repurpose a figure that turns into a plane to turn into, well, Robot Ghidorah. But missing a head. Kevin's gone. I do like the pink they used. It complements the figure quite well, but the paint is still scratchy and he's covered in foil stickers. It's a pretty sizable Voyager though, so that's really nice, but my figure's fists refuse to stay in place and they all flop about. Apparently the Takara Selects version, or whatever it is, has even worse QC, so watch out for that if you do end up buying the, I think it's a Selects box set? I don't know, the one that was on Pulse. Honestly, as a whole, this set is just alright. It has a lot of ups and downs that make the price of admission kinda but I don't mind the figures. They're not the worst things. Well, Cutthroat's another thing, but they're not the worst things in the world. Their posing is kind of varied. I mean, for the most part, it's the same. Hunger has the most joints in the legs, where Ripper Snapper has the most in the arms. But the joints on my copy, like I said, are really loose in a lot of areas on a lot of the figures. I'm going to just be straight up. I don't like Power of the Primes. And these figures, while I like a couple, really emphasize why I didn't buy a lot from this line till now. Because they just aren't up to par with what we got before Titan's Return and what we got after Siege. Just Power of the Prime's just in the middle where it's like everything went wrong. To me, anyways. I like there's a few good figures like Prime, Hot Rod. Yeah, that's it. Transforming them also can be meh. I don't like Sinner Twins. It's horrible. Getting the legs to do anything just kind of sucks. The way that the tabs and the legs are designed to transform, it just doesn't work well. It's not fun to do. Cutthroats is just also not fun to do. Getting the head, like the bird head folded up, always pulls the bird head off. Oh, I wonder why it was missing on my last copy. Ripper Snappers is fine. You just kind of shrink him and stand him up. Blot has the most involved out of the deluxes because you literally fold him in half and like move some stuff around, so it's pretty nice. And then Hunger, you literally just lie him on his back and he's waving his legs in the air. Monster modes though are pretty good, but that bird mode looks kind of shit, so let's look at the rest. Looking at the rest of these guys just by themselves, I don't know, they still don't feel great, but the monster modes are definitely the best modes of the 3 modes that they have. It definitely looks like the monster modes are where most of the effort went into, and I'm kind of okay with that because I love the monster modes on the Terracons. That's what drives me towards them anyways. They surprisingly look like a cohesive team, even though they're such a mishmash of colors and designs. It's very, very interesting how they're able to pull that off. My favorite is still Blot. Ripper Snapper is a very, very close second in the alternate mode category, because the whole walking shark thing is just terrifying, and I just realized that I'm making a video about monsters a week before Halloween. They aren't really much for posing. Like, they have leg and arm articulation, but either it's the same arm articulation as it was in robot mode, or the leg articulation is just forward and backwards. Hunger has some really articulated necks, though, because they're basically just his robot mode legs. But the thing that most people buy this for, the disappointment that is Abominus. Combining these is legit exactly the same as combining anything from Combiner Wars, so I'm just not going to show it. But the proportions feel off. Like, the arms are too long, and that's just an issue with a lot of Combiner Wars combiners. And if you have figures with loose hips like me, good luck trying to get them to hold the arms up, you know, because they use elbows. I mean, the hips are the elbows, you know what I mean. Shut up. The port and Ripper Snapper to peg the foot hand things in is just cracked, so nothing likes to stay in there properly. Same with Blot, stuff just falls out. And same with Cutthroat, I found out while filming this video, so that's really annoying. And it has to do with those feet. You have to bend the ankle tilts at a specific spot close to the ratchet, because if you try to do it any other way, the peg likes to push itself out of the port, causing it to crack. So that's something you have to watch out for. He is missing a lot of color. I know that's saying something because there's a lot on him, but if you look at the Takara Selects one, it looks so much. I wish it didn't have all the QC issues, otherwise I would have bought it over the Power of the Prime set, because it looks fantastic in comparison to this set. Also, I should mention they all come with guns. Do I have them? Yes. Do I know where they are? No. The feet are a little too small, and that can make standing him a bit of a chore mixed with these hip ratchets. Overall, I'm just not the biggest fan of how this looks or feels. Now, if you throw in the upgrade kit, because I know 1,000 people are going to tell me that the upgrade kit exists if I don't mention it, then it looks pretty good, but I'm not the biggest fan of pretty much any of the Combiner Wars combiners, except for I do want to get Skyrain, I do want to get Copytron, and Superion. Those are the 3 combiners that I want to get. If you can find this for a decent price, then yeah, pick it up, because like people charge ridiculous amounts for this on the secondary market. But if you can find it for like 80 bucks ish, used or brand new, just make sure there's nothing's cracked, then I'd say it's worth it kinda, but otherwise I don't know, I'd pass on it if I were you. If they're going to be redoing the combiners like they are with Minosaur, who knows, in the next 5 years we might get another Abominus that will be leagues better than this one. There's just too many issues that make the set, the one I wanted them to make the most, feel bad. And that's probably why I don't like this so much, because I wanted Abominus ever since Combiner Wars was shown off at New York Toy Fair way back in the day. And I saw that Superion and that Menosaur, and I was like, I want an Abominus, because he's one of my favorite combiners. Actually, I wanted a Monstructor, if anything, but you know, we didn't get that. But I wanted an Abominus, and this just didn't deliver for me. It's unfortunate that it's a letdown, But it is what it is. Life moves on. It's just a toy. Who cares? But at the end of the day, save your money. I wouldn't buy this if I were you, unless you can get it with the upgrade kit or the Takara one, or you can find it for cheap. But that's my look at POTP Abominus. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.